What's up, guys? Okay, so no fluff, no pitch. Just want to break down this campaign for you. Let's get right to it. This is the free Monkeypod Toolbox ebook campaign, and it's designed to deliver the ebook. So it starts with a web form opt-in, and I'm not actually using the web form itself. I'm linking to it with a lead pages lead box. The reason I call that out is because I'm using a hidden field here to capture the lead source. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm actually planning to use this web form in a few different locations. I say planning because I'm recording this video like right as I launch this, so there's no traffic in here yet. I've only done a couple tests. This web form will live as a pop-up box on the useful tools page of my website. But it'll also probably have its own standalone landing page that I use for Facebook ads, that I use to promote on Twitter, or through any of my other social channels. So regardless, you opt in here, and ideally the lead source should be set through the URL. So by including that hidden field, that allows me to pass in the place that they were on when they got to that form, or the place that you were on, so that I can track and attribute any traffic that this campaign gets back to my marketing efforts or my ads that I ran, and figure out what was working, right? That's an important place to start, is just anytime you set out with a lead capture or a freebie of some kind, you want to also think ahead to what am I going to want to measure. And if you know that there's going to be multiple traffic channels driving to this one opt-in, then you want to be able to tell of these people who are in this campaign, how did they get there? And that's what that's doing for me. So this sequence here is really just removing a tag, which is the tools ebook trigger tag, and then it is applying a note just as a historical reference point that the tools ebook was requested, and then it's reapplying that tools ebook trigger. So more often than not, this step will just be skipped, because people who are signing up, if you're entering this campaign, you probably don't have this tag. I really only have that in there in case somebody signs up a second time, and I'll show you why in just a second. Now, if this tag is reapplied or is applied, it's going to achieve this goal. I wanted to separate this. I probably didn't need that goal there, but I wanted to separate this just in case long term I might decide to set this up as an entry point. Right now it's not, it's just for context in this campaign, but if I change this to an entry point, then I could use this as an entry point for other people in other parts of my customer journey. If they just click a link, I could tag them and drop them into the campaign here. So that was the concept behind that. I'm not doing that at this point, but I wanted to give myself that option. Now, as soon as this tag is applied, the tools ebook trigger, that's really what starts the rest of the campaign. And the first thing I do is I actually run a decision diamond that says, have they already downloaded the tools ebook? Do you already have this ebook? Because if you already have it and you opt in again, I don't need you to go through the same process, the same journey. I really just want to send you the ebook. So the first thing that happens is it branches off people who already have the ebook, and it sends them this message. It just says, hey, here's that ebook you requested. I feel like we've been here before. Am I having deja vu, right? It just gives me the ability to speak to them in a little bit more of a targeted manner, because I know that if they're receiving this email, it means that they've requested the ebook that they already had. Now that probably isn't you, because you must have gone down this path. If you're watching this video, it means that you opted in, you requested this ebook, you did not have it already, so then you probably were in this sequence. The first step in this sequence is to actually deliver the ebook. And I'm sure you saw this email. It says, hey, most small business owners I know, there's a siren in the background. I'm going to pause for just a moment. Anyway, so here's the email delivering the ebook, and you can see there is a tag being applied. So the moment you download this ebook, you get that tag. And the reason that's important is because that tag progresses you on. Once you've downloaded it, you move from this deliver ebook into the follow-up sequence, which is where the survey is. Now, if you don't download it, I'm going to wait 2 days, and then I'm going to attempt to deliver it again. And that email is a little bit, of a different approach. It's still got the link, but you can see I've added like a checklist here. Start a business, request ebook, read ebook, And then I've got Taco Tuesday just as like kind of a fun little something to make people smile. So you may not have seen this second email. If you downloaded the ebook on the first attempt, that means you missed this email altogether. But if you didn't download it on the first try, you would have got this second email, and you can see it's got the same tag being applied the moment that you click that link. Now, in this one, I also offer a bribe. Nope, not yet. The bribe is actually coming up, so we'll get there. And then 10 days later, if you still haven't downloaded it, I apply a tag that sends you over to my Meet Greg campaign, which is where I introduce myself and tell you about Monkeypod. Now, if you do download it, this is where we get the survey. So 3 days after you download it, I send you an email saying, hey, I hope you found that useful. And my goal is to help small businesses get more from Infusionsoft. But before I make any assumptions about you, are you using Infusionsoft? Because this toolbox, this ebook that I've created, it isn't specific to Infusionsoft users. These are just tools that I rely on. So when I promote it, I'm going to share it in that context. So I'm expecting that some Infusionsoft users, most people in my network will find it and will download it, and hopefully it'll be valuable. But also people who have no affiliation with Infusionsoft might see this and think, cool, I want to know what tools Greg's using. You know, even if they don't use Infusionsoft, they should still find it valuable. So that's why this survey is important to me, is just telling, is learning about the audience so that I can speak to them in a more specific manner. Now, this survey itself is actually added using an HTML snippet because you don't normally do surveys in emails very easily, but I've added one here. It's do you currently use Infusionsoft, and I used the plus this simple survey feature. Now, if you don't have plus this, you could create something like this with two buttons here. So you could add something like that and just make your own survey. There's nothing wrong with that. I just have been kind of making an effort to explore some of the plus this features, so I thought I would use this. And it's actually pretty slick. It gives me the ability to add my two survey options and then apply tags when either of those are clicked. Now this is where I bribe people. So if 3 days go by and you haven't taken that survey, that's where I say, okay, cool, let me sweeten the pot a little bit. And if you do watch this or do take this survey, I'm going to send you a video breaking down how this campaign works. That's the video that you're watching right now. So that's kind of an incentive. This video hopefully is valuable to you, and you can see like the logic and the structure and the progression. But I wanted to just offer that because you're doing me a favor. If you take this survey, you're helping me keep my database clean. And so I'll do one for you, which is, dissect the automation that you're experiencing, and maybe there's a lesson in here for you. So once the survey has been, once they click, or once you click, you either click that you are an Infusionsoft user, or you click that you are not an Infusionsoft user. So you're going to achieve one of these two goals. Those are applied by Infusionsoft user tag or not using Infusionsoft. And the reason I want to know that information is because most of what Monkeypod does is Infusionsoft specific. I teach people how to get more from Infusionsoft. So it doesn't make sense for me to promote my services or talk about my courses or my membership if you're not an Infusionsoft user, because you just wouldn't get a whole lot of value from it. So I'm able to talk to people based on what you told me about yourself by putting you into one of these two sequences or one of these two sequences. So after the decision is made, what I then do is I look. Have you already been in my database? Like, have you subscribed to my blog in the past or downloaded something else from me? Because if you have, then you're just going to get an email that says, cool, here's the breakdown video, and that's here where we are. But if you have never been in my database, if this is our first interaction with one another, I want to reflect that and offer, hey, let me introduce myself and let me tell you about Monkeypod, right? And what I do and how I help small businesses. And so I just have two different options of the same email, two different versions of the same email. You can see in the one for folks who are new. So if you had never met me before the tool ebook was downloaded, this is probably the version of the email you got. And it says, speaking of which, I've built a little welcome sequence designed to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about Monkeypod, and sprinkle in a few freebies. Are you interested? And if you click that link, well, then you're going to be transferred or teleported from this campaign over to my Meet Greg campaign. But for people who have already been through that campaign, the Meet Greg campaign, that's like my version of an indoctrination campaign. For people who have already been there, I don't need to invite you to that. It wouldn't make sense for you to experience it a second time. So it just says, hey, if you dig this and you want to keep learning, check out my courses or the OG membership, right? That's it. I could probably segment even further and make sure that I'm not promoting the OG membership to people who already have it, etc. But at a certain point, when you're building campaigns, I like to remind people that you need to, get the first version live before you worry about making it perfect. And so there, somewhere in any campaign's, progression, there's a line where you just need to cut it off and say, cool, this is good enough. Let's get it out the door and start learning from it. And then you can come back and add multiple layers or iterations to it and refine it even further. But don't let what is possible get in the way of what is necessary. Okay. So same thing's happening down here. For people who have already been in my database, which shouldn't be very many. If you're in my database, most people are Infusionsoft users, but if they're already in my database and they know who I am, I don't think there's really anything else. It just says, check out more about Infusionsoft. If you want to learn more about Infusionsoft, actually it links to a blog post that my friend Brett over at Blick Digital wrote reviewing Infusionsoft. So just a little bit of background about Infusionsoft, and if you want to learn more about it, there's where you go. Now, for people who are not Infusionsoft users and are brand new to me, I offer the Meet Greg, the indoctrination experience. But I just say, hey, if you want to get a taste of what Infusionsoft can do, the automation magic, just click this link and I'll, again, teleport you over to that campaign and you can experience what an automated customer journey looks like. I also have the link to Brett's campaign there. So that's it. You can see, this video is going to be distributed in any of those 4 emails, but I just frame it up differently, and I give you kind of next action steps, sort of a choose your own adventure, depending on what you have told me about yourself and what I think might be a good path for you moving forward. I think it's kind of counterintuitive to just be that transparent about what this looks like, but the reality is I'm not hiding anything. I want this to be a win-win for both of us. And so my goal is that if you find this valuable, then you'll probably also find the rest of what Monkeypod does valuable. But if you don't find this valuable, similarly, you're probably not going to get a lot from the rest of my stuff, and I'd rather we both figure that out sooner rather than later. So then the 4 sequences all feed into one final sequence where I have an arbitrary delay of 1 day, and then I apply a tag for tools, ebook, campaign, complete. And once that tag is applied, it achieves a conclusion goal, and that's the end of this campaign. If you are in the Meet Greg invite, if you're in either of those, then you are watching this video on this landing page, which I built using the Infusionsoft new landing page builder. You can see there's probably a button below this video with some next action steps that will apply a tag if you click it. But if you if you've already been through my Meet Greg sequence, then you're probably just watching this on the Wistia page. There's no need for me to send you to that landing page because this video is just, standalone. Here it is. Now, if at any point in this campaign you get the Meet Greg sequence, meaning that you're teleporting over to the Meet Greg campaign, you would achieve this goal. The reason I have 2 conclusion goals is because I just want to see which happened, right? Did this one happen more often, or did that one happen more often? And by using a conclusion goal, it also assures me that I'm not going to have anyone just kind of orphaned in this campaign in a in the queued section, just kind of hanging out there. It keeps things a little bit neater, keeps things, from a reporting perspective, a little bit cleaner as well. So that is how this campaign looks today. A little bit of segmentation so that I could speak to people more specifically. I do have a branch up front to exclude people who re-enter the second time, but other than that, it's a fairly linear progression with a ebook request, ebook download, follow-up survey, and then next actions. I hope this was useful for you. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and ask. Later.